Okay. We're good.
All right. My name is Marcus Mayfield. It's a pleasure meeting you. I've seen a few of your videos. I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a few of your videos, so we can relate on a lot of subjects, a lot of topics. Me and Cecil, we have deep conversations on some similar things. But to stick to the real estate, I was drawn to the real estate because I was doing wholesaling and real estate investing. Never
Mhm.
had a license. I was doing it on my own,
Mhm.
and I wasn't consistent. I couldn't find the consistency. So I was reaching out to different people who I knew,
Mhm.
um, and got turned down by a lot of people. Honestly, like the people who I thought would reach out to me or and give me a handout, basically, uh, kind of just kind of pushed me to the wayside and gave me the runaround. And yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you next week. I'll do this for you. I do that. Reach out to me. I'm available anytime. I call them. They never answer. And I remember seeing Cecil's posts. I don't even remember how we became Facebook friends or whatever, but I saw his posts and I was like, you know what? I want that position. That he wrote something on a piece of paper. I was like, I want that position. I want to work with you one day. And not knowing down the line that we would be working together and doing seminars together. And we recently closed on an apartment complex together. And this is what, 6, 7 months in. Um, so I'm excited to be a part of the group, and being that it's a new group, there's a lot of road bumps that we're overcoming together. But I'm
Sure.
excited to have my input and be a part of a group or a team where I could put my input in and say, you know what, I don't like this aspect or I like this aspect. We should change this. Let's try this, and I can reach out to them directly. I don't have to go through 100 different people. I don't have to go through a call center to get to the head guy or whoever's in charge to make
Mhm.
changes. So I'm excited about that, and I've with the what I've already known about real estate, I was able to increase myself and learn a few things. And I'm constantly listening to him. And I was blowing his phone up in the beginning
Mhm.
with things that I thought were deals that weren't deals. And I was able to learn from the master himself. And now I feel confident now to go out and do a lot of things myself. And I just call him to get the ultimate, hey, what do you think about it? Instead of the advice or what should I do next type call. So, uh,
Absolutely.
it's been a pleasure working with them, and it's definitely excelled me. Within this time frame, I've purchased an apartment complex with them. I purchased my own investment property in Alabama. I'm working on my second now, and the investment property in Alabama, I didn't spend any of my own money because I don't have the money, don't have the credit. Uh, so I was able to use private funding, personal lenders who I didn't know were personal lenders until I actually got into real estate. So I actually just got a $2,000 deposit today from the lady who's moving in. So
That's awesome, man.
There you go.
yeah,
It really is. That's awesome.
absolutely. And that's all I got. That's all I got.
And that's awesome, man. It's a pleasure to meet you, man. And stories like that, that just makes me even more excited to come on board, man. And
Yes,
hopefully we
sir.
can talk about those other things too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
Yes,
you'll
sir.
once you're inside of the group, you'll see a lot of people reach out to me. I'll be accessible. I
Mhm.
do work a 9 to 5, but you can call me, text me at any time because those questions are going to come up when you start having sellers and buyers and things call your cell phone. So I'm
Absolutely.
always available.
Okay. Yes, sir, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I'm Latoya Carroll. So nice to meet you as well. And I
Nice to
can
meet you,
say that
Latoya.
Marcus, yes, and Cecil, they mean it when they say that you can reach out because just like he got done explaining the whole reach out
Mhm.
and in any text message, that was me. I'm at work trying to, oh, I see this deal. Marcus, wait, help, and
Mhm.
he'll respond. So that was really cool. But my story is unlike Marcus. I have no experience in real estate, just
Mhm.
a high interest. Besides the fact that I had bought my own home in a real retail, normal retail space at 19, that was my extent, but not anything where I went outside the box. And that's what I've been very much introduced to is a whole new world. Like I won't start
Mhm.
singing the mermaid song, but it is literally like that because you're driving down the street and you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that before. And where did that come
Mhm.
from? And now your mind is clicking and ticking. And I just got done talking to a young lady today who's trying to sell me for my own personal use her 5-bedroom home. And she's realistic that she wants cash deals, but she's also open to owner financing with me. And I wouldn't have known to have that conversation before on a
Mhm.
totally remodeled, 90% done, I can put on my finishing touches if I
Mhm.
hadn't run into these guys. And I met Marcus maybe 4 or 5 years ago when selling insurance. So I've always had an
Mhm.
entrepreneurial spirit. and saw him with his marketing. So those are some things that Cecil has taught as far as, how you can make what you're doing available and visible to others. And that's what caught my eye. And he was looking for students, and I'm like, I'm in there, So a lot of the things that they're showing us, it blows up faster than you can believe, and you start having results faster than you can believe. They make a big deal about it, but I guess I inked the deal in 6 days, and I didn't know that was something that was, unheard of or unseen. I was like, I'm just doing what you told me to do. So that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, my daughter just snuck in here. I don't know if you can see, but I have a couple pieces of mail, and actually all of it, y'all, is for my nonprofit. So that's something else that has come from unexpectedly from being with the group, is other things that I've had on my heart, and I know that I've manifested coming to pass. So outside of real estate, I've now started, within this 3 months of being with them, the nonprofit group called Truly Making a Difference. So
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, set up for the funding and truly make a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
So it's been an amazing journey. And Marcus, I like what you said. Not every piece of it's easy, including motivating yourself, or tapping in and staying plugged in when you should, or organizing certain pieces of what's now growing tremendously in our group. But it's been amazing to work with folks that are like-minded, lift you up, hold you accountable, and have some of the same goals. So I'm speechless at this point. Yeah,
well,
welcome.
It's exciting to really meet both of you guys, because I can relate so much to both of you. Him definitely to the point where nobody gave him anything; he had to go out and get it. And definitely with you, no experience in real estate, and obviously I have a love for people, and I can see how I could use the same avenues to be able to help people the same way. And I just like that. It's like we got the same heart. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and you're going to see that everyone in the group pretty much shares that same thing, and it's just a area that will allow you to flourish. And there's going to be a lot of different wheels, but you'll be able to pick one to start off with and master that one, and then go on to the next one. And as I was telling you earlier, I even have people inside of the group that have their own coaching students now. So that also says a lot too. And not only I can do it, but I can show someone else to do it. And then I can show them how to do something else, bringing in their own coaching, or, helping LaToya set up her nonprofit. And it's just so much more than real estate. And it's really a given, just a loving group. It's just a big family that you'll come to love also. Because everybody's just really supportive of everybody, and they're cheering you on, you know what I mean, to go ahead on and get that deal. Or sometimes people are on the phone or about to get on the phone with somebody, and they're typing into the group, hey, I'm about to go into this thing, or what should I do, what should I say? And, just to be able to have that camaraderie, that's just cool. That's cool.
Absolutely.
So just real quick, a little bit about you, Kevin. They've basically seen a little bit. We've seen a little bit of videos. Just like real quick about you. What's the background and where you're looking to go?
Absolutely, sure. Well, I have been in sales really all my life. Let's see, I had my first sales job when I was 17 or 18. And then from there, I ended up running my own company. It was a multi-billion-dollar company. Actually, by the age 22, I was the general manager, fastest to ever be promoted. So I've always done really well at sales, but I've always wanted to do real estate, but I've never really had the opportunity. I had my first child when I was 17 years old, so I always had to go to work. So I really never had an opportunity from what I was aware of, that I could take that time off. Because, when you're going to go into real estate, you got to have some money, saved up. Houses don't sell just that quick, or it takes a while for them to close. These are the things I heard, and it's kind of scared me out of it. So I still always stayed into the type of sales I was doing, succeeding and all. But I'm actually very happy, because now I have an opportunity to try something that I really always wanted to try. And I can see how it can definitely change my life. Especially with the type of money you can make doing it. I spend a lot of time in retail, but really what you're going to make is enough to just pay your bills. It's not going to really give you enough to free yourself and really be able to do the things that I want to do in terms of my dreams and goals of helping people. So I really like the idea of this and the opportunity to do this.
Okay. Well, that's great. Basically what we want to do is just basically go through some questions with you, give a little bit of feedback about different things that we've experienced in real estate, and really just provide a prelude to your friends and to your platform also as to why is Kevin Wesley going into real estate. And a lot of people may have a lot of different things to say. And, you know, as you saw the video earlier this morning with the investment property I'm sitting in right now, right?
Absolutely.
So there are things that people don't know. And there's so many misnomers, or there's so many myths that need to be busted about real estate. And one of the things you just said was that it takes a while to close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's traditional real estate. That's if you have your real estate license, you know, you're going to the bank, you're submitting your credit score, you know, you're putting money down and going through getting your inspections and all of that. That's that side, 30 to 45 days. On this side, as an investor, when you have a cash buyer, see, basically we're doing the same thing as a real estate agent is doing, but we don't have to be a real estate agent. We can actually, we're not selling houses. We're actually tying properties up with contracts, and we're selling off the paper, just like the banks do. And you always hear me say that, think like a bank. So
Absolutely.
on this side of it, on a traditional cash deal, you're talking about a serious cash buyer. You're talking about them being able to close in 10 days, 14 days.
Wow.
You know, versus 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
Then the things that Marcus is doing, I'm gonna let him plug a little bit on that, is thinking like a bank philosophy, creating a mortgage, and actually setting up your family for like a 30-year time period where you have interest rate. And we're doing the same thing Bank of America does. We're doing the same thing that Chase does, and all of these other banks are creating mortgages and then assigning them off. So if you do have any other questions or things that you may have thought about it also, I just like to go over some of those things as well.
Sure.
But just speaking on the mortgage and thinking like a bank, Marcus, you just told part of it, but what is that like?
That's an amazing process, especially as I told you, I found my private lenders on Facebook, not through a GoFundMe ad. One of the funders or private lenders is actually my mother. She always had an interest in real estate, and she was like, "Hey, you found a property? How much?" And I told her the price. The property was actually $30,000. So traditionally, you would buy a $30,000 house, sell it for a little bit more. So what I did was set up a mortgage on the property and sell it for $45,000, which doesn't sound like a lot of money. Like, okay, 15 grand, that lasts me 2-3 months after I pay some bills. But the way that it's set up is that 45,000 has an interest rate over a 30-year period. So it's $45,000 with a 10% interest rate, which sounds horrible to us who buy houses traditionally. Right. You know, you're looking for that 3.5 or 3% interest rate. But in certain situations where the individual, the lady who's buying the house, she's fresh out of a divorce and she was looking for a place to stay. The monthly payment sounded great to her, and it made sense for her to move in. And I explained to her that this is your property. You're buying it from me. Your name goes on the title. The only thing that I'm going to hold is a note, the promissory note saying you agreed to pay me, $360 a month for the next 30 years. And if you do the math on that, $360 a month is not a lot of money, but that promissory note with the interest rate tied into it over 30 years is almost $130,000.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's basically $130,000 bill that I now have that I can sell off. So any investor would look into that and say, hey, you have $130,000 over the next 30 years. I'll pay you $100,000 for it. And obviously my answer is going to be sure. Only paid $30,000 for the property, made a $70,000 profit instead of a $15,000 profit.
Wow. Absolutely.
And you know, the turnaround time on that is the typical time that it would take you to buy a house, anywhere from 6 to 12 months if you're building from the ground up. So that's a 6 to 12 month turnaround time. And my mother being my investor, that's an excellent turnaround for her, being that she put in 15 grand on a $30,000 house, and she'll come back and see another 15 grand on top of that.
Sure.
So it's an amazing feeling just being her son and saying, hey, look what I did with your 15 grand. I brought it back to you and then some. So that's my strategy. I like that strategy. I'm feeling comfortable with it. I need to start getting out of the box a little bit more, but I like that strategy of being able to basically tie up properties and put mortgages on it and sell off the mortgage just like any other bank would. So
that's awesome, man. That right there is fantastic. Oh yeah.
And with this deal, there's actually 2 partners in on it. I didn't spend any of my own money. I paid closing costs. Closing costs were about $500. So one of my private lenders paid 15, the other paid the other 15. But we went in as 3-way partners because I was the one who found the deal, did the contracts, did the paperwork. So we all have a 33% split on the deal. and I put in 500, they put in 15 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So being that I had control of the property, control of the paperwork, control of the title, the deed, everything like that, I was able to structure the deal in my favor, and also show a return for my parents and her friend.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome right there. That's
Right.
crazy. Oh yeah.
And then even when you're thinking outside of the box, if it wasn't, his mother and her friend, actually, I would have had him really do it a different way, where he would have made a
Right.
whole lot more money on the monthly, because what we're doing is I like to set up different notes, as I was explaining to you earlier, where I have income coming in from different places. And here's the thing about this. If he ever needed the money within the next year, 2 years, whatever, 6 months, I've showed him where to go to actually sell that note off for about 95 to 100% of the value of the property. So, I mean, to be able to get, I don't know, let's say mortgage will be 130. I could easily show him how to get 115,000 off of it. I mean, that could be tomorrow, So
Wow.
that's what this is all about on that one. What I want to do is I want to get like a newbie perspective, like Toya, and I just want Toya, like just if you could share with Kevin's audience what it was like coming from your perspective, because Marcus had already done a couple of clips before. We just added some building blocks onto what he was doing. But I remember you calling me and you talking to the gentleman who was trying to get over on you. But what was that experience like as a new person coming in? And what could Kevin's follow? What could Kevin look forward to, and what could his friends and people that would see this? What would they be able to look forward to as that newbie who has somebody behind them that you don't have to worry about what's going to go on?
Right. Well, I'm going to be very honest. I was terrified. And that's real, because that's exactly how everybody will feel. And if you at least acknowledge that the fear is there, but calm that with the fact that there's people that have your back. And when they said it, you hear it, you hope, because you would have someone's back. So when you measure by your own heart, you're like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and give you some trust here. But it was real. So, I mean, every moment that I was nervous, every step that they did give me, there was that gentle nudge, like, just go, go do A, and you're going to get that part done, and you'll be all right. And I get that part done. Okay, now what do I do? And they're like, okay, here's B, so it was, every step was given to me how I needed to digest it. And even the moments that I didn't understand, what I liked about it was there was patience. And then more guidance, So if there was something that I thought I got and I'm re-explaining it, like, okay, so I understand this, and is that how it goes? Or like, almost, and they would re-explain and give me what I needed in the steps and way that I was able to process it. So That was the first piece that was appreciated. But it's terrifying not being the expert at something. Just like you said something else that I resonate. I had a child at 16, and I've been in sales since I was 13. So it's like those things are what I know how to do, but real estate was something that was totally out of my realm. And now it's crazy because it's only been since end of January, Marcus, right? And I'm feeling somewhat of an expert, and I know I don't even know the tip of the iceberg.
But still, you feel comfortable.
Right. I can walk into a room and start having a conversation where I feel like I sound educated and at least knowledgeable, and I'm not afraid to have that type of conversation, ask questions, and get results from it. So it's powerful when you stay plugged in and you literally just ask as many questions as you can. They'll get answered. Ask and you shall receive. That is true. It's a law of the universe. So from that perspective, though, what I appreciate is that you don't have to have the experience to be successful in this. You just have to be willing to follow instructions and be open to new information. And if you're those two things, you'll be successful. So like one of the first things that they put me on as a newbie was hit the internet on these certain sites and look for X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay. So, I mean, day and night, on breaks, on lunch, I was looking for it. And that's how I ended up inking the deal in 6 days, because I was so hungry and diligent to find it that I found it, And with it, the conversation, the way that they guided me in being able to talk to someone and find out their motivation, find out what it is that's causing them to sell, because that's a part of the techniques. No matter how you end up exiting or having an exit strategy, you're wanting to deal with folks that need to sell their homes, not want to sell their homes. And once I got
Absolutely.
that concept, I was able to start weeding through, oh, well, that's retail, even though it says for sale by owner. Oh, that's another wholesaler. You start seeing and your eyes start sharpening and you get closer and closer into your deals until you're narrowing in on exactly what you were looking for. So newbie perspective, terrifying in the beginning, and even certain situations that come up now, it's like, oh, new territory. But because I have support behind me, it's been really, really amazing.
Yes, ma'am. I completely understand. That's awesome, though. I feel the same way. It's so much better knowing that somebody knows more than you to have your back so you can go into those situations feeling comfortable.
Right.
But I like that. Like a few months in, you said, I already feel like an expert.
I
always
do.
teach that. I always teach that when it comes to sales. Confidence is everything. But
Right.
you can't have it if you don't know your product, if you don't know what you're doing. So, oh, yeah.
Right. And even in the moments that we would call an opportunity, what's amazing about that is like, oh well, you just kind of chalk it up to you learn something in that moment
You
as
always
well.
do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do.
I could have had that deal now that you think about it, or I could have made that work, and I could have done this, because you learn a new piece.
Right.
But they still all add up to the learning that you're needing to feel like that expert within a short.
Absolutely. You're right. Absolutely right. I agree.
And Toya, real quick also, what to see this whole thing unfolding right in front of you, to know that I think when you came in, I think Marcus was maybe just a couple of months ahead of you, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
For you to see from where he was, and you've known him from when he was doing other things also, to see now that, wow, we just set up an office for him and it's because of his work ethic that office is there. And that's something that I tell people, look, if you're going to do this, we can set up an office in that town, because my goal is to have one of these offices running in every major city. So to actually, a lot of people say stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But to actually see somebody coming through and doing the very things that it says, what does that say to you as somebody who, is a person of integrity, and just seeing things happen, just seeing happen in front of us?
Well, I'm going to give the spiritual side of it first.
You think?
I mean, it blows my mind in the fact that things that you have known in private or secret are coming into fruition in front of you. Mm-hmm. That piece blows my mind even more than the people that are attached to it, because it's like, I know that I have created these moments, with these people and drawn them in however it was. Even if I step back to when I met Marcus, I was sitting out in a parking lot trying to get the courage to go in, and something that kept pushing me to say, go in. And needless that I know, it was going to be establishing a relationship that was going to be lifelong. Had I not conquered that fear, I would have not established that relationship. So that's the first thing that I get from the group. But outside of that, and when you come to mentorship, like from Cecil and like from Marcus, it is because they have genuine hearts and they're so like-minded with me. It feels, I don't know, it's so authentic. It's genuine. And it's beautiful to see the things unfolding, because it means success for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where a lot of the motivation comes from behind the group, to keep pushing each other, because no matter if our paths are different, we have the same goal, that we want success that bad for the next person. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. That's huge. That's huge. Kevin, want to get over to you now. And this is something that is going to be a brand new journey for you. People follow you. You have a pretty big platform over there, and people kind of know what's going on in your life. You've opened it up to people. You let them know, hey, I did these videos. I talked about what I believed in. I want to wake people up to walk them into the light. But people also know, wow, because you actually spoke up and talked about what you believed in, you were fired from your job. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation with, the things that people say. What I like to know is, what led you to say, you know what, I'm going to do this real estate now? So I know you saw me. I know, you responded to me from the video and all that stuff, but you said you always had an affinity towards real estate. But why now, and what do you feel that you can get out of this just by what you heard from Marcus and Toya right now? Okay, well, let's just say that, my whole life it's been going to work for somebody, so I was dependent and didn't even realize it, being celebrated at work, but all the while I'm a pin push away from being terminated. You see what I'm saying? And so I said, now with my new understanding,
I don't have to wait for somebody to open up a door for me. You know, I can step out there and try it on my own. And it really hit me. I said, you know, now I have to do this in the physical realm immediately now, because now I don't have a job.
Right.
I now have to step outside of my comfort zone and try to create, because I said in that video, I don't ever want to work for a man again, and I'm determined to make good on that. You know, I don't ever want to have to be in a situation like that again. So it's one of those things where, you know, I saw what you were doing, and I saw you going inside the apartment, and, you know, I think you were having the walls tore out because you was going to you were going to sell it to someone. I forget who you were going to sell it to or whatever, but just seeing that was like, I can see myself doing that. And it was like, that is not far away from me. All I have to do is just make it happen. You know, I can't sit around and just wait for you to magically call me. You see what I'm saying? For once in my life, I'm gonna have to take control of it and put myself out there and ask. You see what I'm saying? So I saw you were offering that opportunity to learn from you. So I said, you know what better time than now? You know, I like she said when she was afraid, I'm a little bit afraid, man. I'm used to clocking in and having them put money in my account. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, this is totally different, man. But believe me, it's like I can see the light, and I can see, you know, ahead of me now. And this is something that I know confidently I can do. I've always been able to sell, but it's always been under the roof of someone else that was just constantly, you know, paying me every month or whatever and telling me what I was worth. And now it's like I have a real opportunity to create, you know, what I feel like I'm worth, and really, you know, give myself the opportunity to help people like I always really truly wanted to. So
right.
Believe me, man, it's like literally nothing that I want more. It's so exciting because I can now take, you know, an opportunity like this, and truly so many other people can benefit from it. You see what I'm saying? And I would encourage anybody, you know, if you're working a full-time job or whatever, you know, why not look into something like this? Because we need to create a way for ourselves to not be dependent on anyone. You know, that's one of the first steps to being a man. And we didn't get taught that though. You know,
right.
We got taught to go to work, you know, and so now it's like, here I am, a grown man, and now trying to live out that concept. But I have to do it, man, because I have beautiful children. I don't want to grow up thinking they have to go work for somebody. You know, I want to be able to create something and give that to my children.
Right.
Wow. That's big. That's huge right there. Now you're going to have a lot of people that are, let's just talk about that fear for a minute. That's big right there. Most people think that you have to wait for the fear to subside. So they're really trying to kill the fear. And as I talk and all this stuff, the part of real estate that I'm doing now and taking it to a different level, like I wasn't doing this 5 years ago, but I came across, I was at a time in my life where I had lost everything, and got into some problems, got into some trouble, lost some stuff that I'm following some gurus around. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so real with it now. I have that whole no fluff, no smoke screens, and no magic beans, is because I was in that same area also. And we think that we have to kill fear first. Mm-hmm. But that's the total opposite of what success is, because that fear will propel you. But also that I call it the cobra of fear. And you don't have to kill it. And it's not going to die, and you need it in your life because it's going to help propel you. But all you have to do is tame it. And it's the same thing. I'm sure Marcus was fearful. I'm sure LaToya was fearful. I know I was fearful, and I know that you're fearful also. But what do you do in spite of? Because so many times we can talk this talk, and then when it comes time to really take the action, we fall right back to what we know. So just wanted to address that fear in Marcus and that fear in LaToya also.
I agree, man. It's like I always teach my new friends on that concept of fear. And it's kind of broken down into an acronym. I didn't make this up, but when I saw it, it really stuck out to me. But fear is it's false evidence appearing real. It's false evidence, but it appears real. Therefore, you don't try whatever it was that you were in fear of trying. But it's false evidence. It is not real. And it's like, you're right. You can't get rid of false evidence appearing real until you show it that it only appears real, that it's in fact not real at all. It was just, false evidence. So unless you step forward and try that thing that you're in fear of, you're going to always be in fear of it. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's one of the things I took into mind was, I even went back to looking for a job. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's like, I cannot do that. I cannot allow myself to go back to what I was used to. And I have to look my fear right in the face. And it's like, hey, I teach this all day, right? I have to live it. It's right here in front of me. Why would I go back? And it's like, I didn't learn anything. So, that's why I look at this opportunity and say, I saw what you were doing. And, it's funny how you can see somebody and say, I can see myself doing that.
Yeah.
And you're more than willing to sit up under them and learn it. So you can do that. and some things, you need. And we have to understand that we have to invest in ourselves. I think that's brilliant how you give people an opportunity to come on if they don't have all the funding up front, because, we have to learn that, that small amount of money that we normally would spend on a pair of shoes or something, we can take that money and invest it in ourselves. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And truly see all our dreams fulfilled if we just take the time to invest in ourselves. And we have not been taught that. So that's why I see this as a brilliant opportunity on so many levels, man. Not only for me at all. Actually, I think it's going to be more for everybody else than me. And I'm just excited to be able to do that. So absolutely.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this doing anything, I think leadership has everything to do with it, especially when you have people that are open-minded, people that will really care about you and will genuinely help take you to the next level. And I know when you talk about real estate, there's some fear that's around that because no 9 to 5, right? It's like the laws of the jungle. What you hunt, what you kill is what you eat. And most people can't do that. So, and there's not, and then you have people that think you have to just jump out there all the way. But Marcus and LaToya are proving right now that it's something that can be done on a part-time basis to line yourself up, to be able to cautiously or to slowly step out in there full-time. It's not like I did it. I'm crazy. I just left my job. And I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't had a job in 11 years, but there's been plenty of times when I thought about going to a job, I actually set up to go for a job, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. And then there have been times when I come from the streets. I used to do things in the streets, and I know how to make money quickly on that side too. And I think that we have a lot of people that, you get used to that lifestyle, and when adversity comes up, it's like we think that we have to go back to that thing. And real estate can be something that is fearful. And what I'm here to do and what we're here to do is we're here to break all of the myths that people may think, that you have to have good credit, that you have to have money in the bank, that you have to, wait 45, 60 days for a deal, and put people in a position where, hey, did you know you can buy tax liens and get 20% return on your money, 36% return on your money in Illinois, 50% return on your money in Texas, 20% return on your money in Georgia. I used to know all 50 states by heart, but I haven't been doing it as much. But there's alternatives to people who are settling for, and I used to do it, settle for 0.001% on their checking account. And they don't know that right in, I forget what the rate is in Charlotte where you are, but right in Georgia, 20% return on your money guaranteed by the government. We need to know this. Being able to pick up properties for back taxes, we need to know this. So because I know we need to know this, I took Marcus and I took LaToya. We went down to the tax commissioner's office. We went down to checking out we went to auctions down in Atlanta. I had videos on that also. But the very things that we do can be done in every single area. With that being said, Marcus or LaToya, either one of you, like, what did that whole thing? I mean, we talk about excess proceeds, money that is left over from a tax deed sale, which people don't know about. It's so many ways to make money in this real estate game, but there's so many of these guys out there, they're not telling the truth, or they're not telling the full truth, and people are being lied to, they're being confused. And I just think it's time for somebody that's real, a group like our group, to come out, tell it like it is, show them what it is, and then help people make money. And if you can do that, then you can get people's mind off of that, because my whole saying is it's hard to think if ain't no money in the bank. So just opening up and having you to come in also, somebody who's, what would you do if normally you'd be scrambling again, trying to find another job, but to know that, okay, I can take a minute and I can clear my head.
Absolutely.
And I can now work with somebody who has a proven track record, a proven strategy that, I can get on the phone and I can talk to, I can get the assistance. That's huge. What does that mean? Like, Marcus, what does that mean to you? Just knowing. Let's just take, for example, we went down for the whole tax sale, the stuff that you guys learned just that day. Like, what is that worth?
Myself or LaToya?
Whoever.
My name's not Marcus. It's Marcus.
That information's priceless, and in all honesty, like I told you, I got real comfortable in creating mortgages. There's a lot of different aspects of the group where you can pick and choose. As bad as it sounds, you can pick and choose how you want to make your money. Like, I would prefer to do wholesaling, I would prefer to create mortgages, or I prefer tax deeds. You get flooded with information, and it keeps you from getting comfortable. It keeps you from settling and saying, you know what, this is the only way to make money. You realize that when you say real estate, you're throwing out a vague statement when you say real estate. There's real estate traditional wholesaling, there's real estate wholesaling, there's real estate flipping, which is different from wholesaling. Then there's fix and flips, buy and holds, and tax deeds. There's so much when it comes to real estate. And I think this group teaches a lot of it. I know a lot of other gurus and different teachers and trainers. I've done some courses, some seminars, some online stuff where they only teach you one way. And if you don't get that method, or if it doesn't make sense to you, or if it doesn't fit your area or what you're looking for, then you go buy another course. You go pay a few $1,000s to somebody else's course. But with this here, you kind of get it all, and you have a team you can lean on. Not saying that Cecil knows everything, but he's a great source of information. He's a great source to start with and say, you know what, I know he's proficient in this area or proficient in that area. I can reach out to him in this area. And I actually signed on for apartments. I felt comfortable with houses. I signed on for apartments, and I got so much more with houses that I went back and like, okay, I already know this arena, so I'm gonna go back over here and add what has been added to me. So you get a whole lot. And we went down here to the tax deed stuff, and it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, it's too much for me right now. It's too much. So I had to go back and do a little bit of research and continue to read and educate myself on it. I think I read one of your posts from before about being stupid. I was just ignorant to the fact that there's more out there. I thought I knew it all, but it's so much more out there. So I continue to be the new guy and ask questions.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Toya?
Well, he knows, and I apologize, Cecil, but because I called him out his name, Kevin, I was so excited. We were at the tax deed office, and once that light bulb went off, it was just like, oh, you know, one of the Friday movies where they had the barbecue commercial, and it was like, barbecue so good it makes you want to slap your mama. I'm the jokester of the group, right? I got a balance to me. But when the light bulb went off, standing in that office about how there was all this extra money just available and people didn't know about it, I mean, Cecil must have been shocked when I called him out his name. So sorry, Cecil, I never because it just blew my mind. Like, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, this is not a real conversation that we're having. And then what was funny about the conversation is the fact that we were asking the questions. It was like walking with Dad, right? And him having little sis, little bro, you know, we holding hands. So Dad, we're asking all these questions, and he just keeps patiently answering, yep. And then we go back over it. Okay, but I don't get this part. What about blah, blah, blah? And he'd answer it nice and patiently. And finally, it just clicked. And his little face was just like, you guys got it now? And it was like, yes. So the patience that he offers, and then I think even the joy in his face of seeing when we catch on to something, like Marcus said, we'd have to go back over it again, but we got it. You know, it's amazing, because that's when you truly know that people, like I said, I go back to hearts and their intentions, that his intention is pure, and it lines up with ours, that patience can exist to allow us to get to that point of growth. And so that was pretty amazing, because I still don't have a clue about how to start the process of what I learned. But I know I learned something, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those moments where you can't go back to being ignorant. You've been expanded.
Right.
No, man.
Right.
So
And it's truly just a lack of knowledge. And I think that's a problem with our people, is just having that lack of knowledge. And I spoke with the individual at my job today, explaining to him about an equity trust account. Older gentleman, and he was saying how he just recently lost his house somewhere, and we started talking about an equity trust account, and he was like, man, I started reading that stuff, man, and boy, hey, I'm gonna do it, I'm telling you, because I didn't know this and I didn't know that. And I was like, man, he's like, I could have kept my house if I would have. I was like, yeah, you just have, man, who told you that? I was like, yeah, a friend of mine told me, man, this is just information I'm picking up as I go along. And I'm 28 years old. I'm trying to implement these things so that way, you know, my kids, I have 2 sons, 10 months apart, but I have 2 sons. And, you know, I'm trying to educate them and put them in a position so when they grow up, they don't have to look for a 9 to 5 or worry about typos on a resume and
Mhm.
things like that, they can create things for themselves. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And here we go. Obviously, we can't go over every single thing in real estate tonight. And what I just wanted to do was do a informative, quick little video that will show people a little bit, just give them a smidget of what's to come. And I think what tomorrow, Kevin, if your schedule allows, we're
Mhm.
going to be able to do this tomorrow evening, and we'll
Absolutely.
go a whole lot longer. Maybe we can go 60 minutes, maybe we can go 90 minutes to actually share with people the things that are available to them, because we don't know. And there's not going to be any man that comes and knocks on your door where you're living and saying it's opportunity, right? We got to get up and we got to go get it. So I think that and I'm sure you agree, but just being able to put the information in front of people to teach them what they don't know, it's going to be mind blowing. And for example, let me just give you a couple of keys. Okay. Most people know that you can set up a LLC. A lot of people don't know that you can set up an LLC inside of real estate. But what they don't know is what rich people do is they take that LLC and they put it inside of a trust, right? An LLC is just going to give you uh, protection, doesn't give you privacy. Because if you have some land, Kevin, you have some properties, and I slip and fall on it, what am I going to do? Go get an ambulance chasing attorney, and he's going to go right to the property appraiser, and he's going to tell me every single thing that you own, right? But when we understand that we can set up things inside of trusts, see, that trust is going to give us privacy. And one of the examples that I do is, if you take, this is the house right here, and if you can put it inside of an LLC, but you put that house inside of an LLC, but there's no privacy, it's just some protection. LLC stands for limited liability company, right? So you have some protection, but when you go another level deeper, you're taking that trust now and covering that property up. And this is what we need to understand how to do. We need to know how to operate inside of trusts. We really need to know what it takes to start leaving legacies, so that when something happens to us, something unfortunate, we die or something, that we don't have to be stuck up in this whole probate process. And for our men, what we want to do is just really get the word out that, okay, we talk we talk things that we read in certain books, and we say, okay, we can read certain things and say, yeah, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. But how do you do it? How? Right? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start showing you how to take those words that you read and how to really apply them in your life, and use certain things like real estate options, which will allow you to control properties. And this is what you're going to learn right now, Kevin. I'm going to show you one piece of paper, right, that I showed Marcus. And Marcus got to tell you the story, how he got the aha moment when we were going to record it. But there's the paper inside of real estate that will allow you to never bring money out of your pocket. Maybe $1 if you want, or if you have it tied up with a trust, maybe $50. But then to make a whole bunch of money, can you imagine this, Kevin? That you can put down $1 on a piece of property, right? Like that apartment building in Georgia, put down $1, and then have raise money by having a nonprofit set up. And to be honest, like, even I'm surprised that churches don't do this. The mega ones do, but the smaller ones don't. And I've even mentored some pastors and different people who wanted to do these things. But when you understand that you can have a nonprofit like I have, like Latoya has, and set up a redevelopment company, and then go to get the community block grants that are sitting there, now you can pay yourself. You don't have to go to a job. You can say, okay, this $5 million that's allocated to our city, okay, we got 700,000 of it for our nonprofit, and now out of that 700,000, okay, I need to pay myself $100,000, I need to pay Toya $100,000, I need to pay Marcus $100,000. So out of that $800,000 that we got, 300 of it is allocated to keeping my good people there, so that they don't have to worry, so that they can take care of their family. And then taking the rest of the money that is grant money, fixing up these properties. Now you're involved in the community. You're doing redevelopment work. The mayor wants to know you. The Congress people want to know you. They want to say that they had a part of it so they can get reelected. And it's just another level. I'm not talking about being a landlord here. Most people who have put a foot into real estate or say, I'm going to try this out, they tried it out at the lowest level possible. And then when it doesn't work, they say it doesn't work.
Right. You're right. You're right.
So just real quick, Marcus, the power of the option, when it went off in your head, what did you realize?
Well, I realized that we negotiated this apartment. We talked numbers with this individual, and we had an LOI, which is basically a piece of paper saying hey, we intend to offer you this based off of these conditions. Large numbers. I'm like, how are we going to afford to pay this lady these numbers? So we got a separate sheet of paper, which is an option, which gives us the option to purchase the property, the sole option. You can't sell it to anybody else. You have to give us at least this time frame in order to purchase it. On this particular apartment complex, we have 7 years option to purchase this apartment complex. So we put down $1 to purchase it.
Control it, right? You control it.
Right, to control it. So we collect rent, we make repairs, we do things like that. So that $1 that we put down on that option, we gave her that $1 saying, hey, this is a legal binding contract. Here's $1. This makes it legal because we actually transferred monies.
Absolutely.
So we transferred that $1 and collected rent.
And
the next month later.
Hold up. And we paid her some love and affection.
Correct. And love and affection, which is on the contract, says
right.
Love and affection, which is actual, long story, but a real estate agent told me one time I had to put a certain amount of money down for a timeshare. That's not true. Not true. But long story short, we put down $1 to make an option on it, but we still had the contract saying we're intending to offer you this.
Right.
Being that we already had the option recorded, you have to give us the right to buy that first. If you do choose to sell it, they owe us this amount because we have an option. So we came back, renegotiated the numbers, and then got that paperwork actually signed and notarized with the renegotiated numbers. So it basically kind of gave us control of the property, allowed us to purchase it, and then we came back to the table and renegotiated numbers. So the numbers aren't recorded. What we give her and what we collect on rents is not recorded. Only the purchase amount and the time that we're going to purchase it is recorded. Everything else is negotiable at any period in time. So we could come back later and basically tell her, hey, will you give us the option to not pay you at all? And she may say yes. For the next 7 years, we may not pay her if that's what she agrees to. Not saying that may happen or that will happen, but it's a possibility. So we put down that $1, and 2 months later, we collected $1,300 in rent off of $1.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's awesome, man. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I would have never thought about doing things like that. So, like you said, that post earlier, I was saying about. Let me point out that all of us have a little stupid in us. We all have more to learn. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of those things where I would have never even known to even look at something like that. So man, that's awesome.
And one of the things that I found out, I remember back in the days where, I would say, I'm not going to pay this person for that. And I think that we have this mindset that we want so much, but we don't want to pay a mentor. So my thing is, okay, would you, if you wanted to be a doctor, would you skip medical school? Would you just walk into the emergency room with your scalpel and start cutting? No, you see, we got to learn to invest in ourselves. And once we learn to invest in ourselves, like this is when all of the secrets are being revealed. I mean, it's just like, come on, we got to be able to invest in ourselves. So, and that's something that you've even done yourself here now. And, one thing that, it's amazing to have a billionaire to mentor you and to learn the way that they do things. And I remember even going out to dinner with this Mr. Schwab, and even though this guy had a ton of money, he drove up in his Dodge Charger, some jeans on. And at the end of the night, after he closed the restaurant down to teach me this real estate side, he said, listen, when we did the bill, he actually calculated out to the penny to what should be paid back. So then I started thinking about being a good steward over your money. Just because he had it didn't mean that he just was going to give it away. I know at this time, I think Toya is going to come out right now. We're wrapping this up right now anyway. But to put people in a position to know what to do, to think like a bank, to know how to set up trust, to leave a legacy for your family, to control properties instead of buying them. This is how we do it, Kevin. We don't buy the properties. We control them. You can control a property, have an owner pay you to come in and take over because they don't know how to manage a property. And our main thing, what you're going to learn, is how to get into apartment buildings like we do. And I never in my life thought that I could get into an apartment building. with no money down, with none of my credit. And, just these things that I've learned, we're going to be sharing with you. And you graciously even wanted to help share it with your people also. So I commend you for that as well. So any quick questions before we go, like maybe that you can think of that you didn't understand, or maybe what maybe someone in your, anything that you may have heard some misnomer about real estate?
Let's see. As of right now, I don't think I do, man. You guys summed everything up for me. I'm pretty clear. So I'm just really excited about getting started. Really excited about learning and sitting in your shoes one day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marcus, real quick, anything that you would put out there, Marcus, for that new person? Because I know that fear is going to be there. People are going to be coming to Kevin saying, well, Kevin, can I do this? Kevin, am I smart enough? Kevin, my credit's not good. Kevin, I don't have the money. Do they have to worry about that, Mark?
Absolutely not. Even with this apartment complex, nobody asked me for my credit. No one asked how much was in my bank account, bank statements, anything like that. We didn't have to go to any banks to get anything approved. I think the only time we went to a bank for anything dealing with this apartment was to get a notary.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was no credit check, nothing in my bank account, nothing like that. And also, just to kind of add to what you said, you want to be in his place at a period in time. Remember, intellectual property costs, whether that's your spiritual side, your real estate side, intellectual property costs.
Absolutely.
And people have been selling that for years. They put it on audio, they put it on CD, they put it on T-shirts, and they sell that information. So just remember that information that you have a wealth of knowledge, and you're opening up a lot of eyes and opening up a lot of doors for individuals. So you're already in that position. It's just plugging into it now.
Absolutely, man, and making it even wider. That's why I like that. So it's one thing about spiritual, but now to be able to show them how to manifest that in their real life,
right?
And bridge that gap, because that's growing up, believing the way I used to. You don't get to bridge that gap. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you kind of dependent. So it's time to not be that way anymore. So yeah, man, absolutely.
So what I want to do right now is I'm going to, as we close this out, I'm going to turn it over to our diamond of the group, to Sparkle over here, and let just leave your friends and your followers with the message about coming in and learning real estate. It doesn't matter if you still have a job, you can do this part-time, getting over the fear, or just Latoya, if you just come in and just take us out and let their people know, Kevin's people know what they have to look forward to.
Absolutely. If I lose you guys, I'm doing my best to stay plugged in. I got 3% and it's dying a little quicker than it's charging. But what I would say is, we talk about stepping outside of the box. Throw the box away. The box isn't even needed. It's not the guide anymore. Trust your intuition. This is all inside of you. It always has been. You've always had questions or burning desires. You've always had guidance. You may have dreams. You may have visions. You may, just have premonitions. Whatever it is, trust yourself, because that's the God and the I am that's in you. And all that's happening with joining this group is the fact that you're having outward confirmation to what you already know. And what is amazing is we talk about fear. Understand that fear is just like the goalie, in basketball, as far as not letting somebody try to make that shot with ease, or same thing with soccer, any sport that you can choose. That was my sports throwout right there. That's all I know.
You didn't know that too good. You put a goalie on a basketball court.
I was laughing at that.
I heard you laugh, Marcus. I said it's all I know.
I was gonna send you a text on that one.
Anyways, see, I told you I'm naturally the comedian. With that being said, you can't play any sports game without somebody trying to block you. It wouldn't be, a competition of any sort or fun if you just walk on and make whatever goal you're trying to make. So,
you're right.
Grow, laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too serious. But just know that the confirmations are there for you, and I think that's what we offer. I know, excuse my words, that's what we offer, and I know that that's what this all is all about. We're one, we're united, and we're ready to help elevate anybody else into that next step of confirming who they are. So I love you all. And don't be talking about me and my goalie in basketball. I knew what I meant.
So with that being said, Kevin, this is what you're walking into. This is the part of the leadership council that backs up everything that we do, and we truly do care about other people. And there's no more fluff. There's no more magic beans. There's no more smoke screens. If somebody wants to succeed in real estate, there's no more excuses. We got this. We got you. We have each other. So anything to close out, Mark, on that? Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. So this is it. This is what it is. We look forward to doing the call with you, to being that beacon of light, that beacon of hope for people who may not know what to do, people who may be going through whatever they're going through, but we're coming to change the game. We got seminars, 50 of them going on around the country this year, and we promote from within. All right. We promote from within. So we're going to show you what it is. And that's what it is. So with that being said, Kevin, I appreciate you coming out and getting on this call with us. And we're really going to, you're going to see, because I already know you're going to be successful in this also. And I know that you have a heart for people. And, I just thank you, and your listeners and your friends. They don't know what they're about to get into, but they're going to thank you. Trust me.
Well, I'm excited for all of us, believe me.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All
right.
So we'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. and we'll go from there. We'll go a little bit deeper, let people know.
Absolutely.
All right. Pleasure. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Let them goalies block your shots.
Hey,
all right.
watch your mouth.
All right.